Heidi Harris, welcome to the show. Are you ready to collaborate with Cole and help other agents?
I am totally ready to collaborate with Cole.
I'm so excited. This is the first time that we've connected, but yeah. I've heard so many things that you're doing that I think our friends that are listening right now are going to benefit from. They're going to be excited about, and they're going to be, I think as soon as they hit stop on this interview, I think they're going to be able to implement and execute on some of your things. So cool. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Now, before we jump in, I want to make sure that we cover at least 3 things that I know I'm excited about. You've done something really special and very unique, and I'm going to want you to just really unpack that. Something interesting to me is our friend Jimmy Burgess, as you know very well, yes, shared with me, that is that you've quadrupled your average sales price in 24 months.
I know. I like it when you say it better than when I say it. When I say it, it sounds so sleazy, but when you say it, it sounds so wonderful. So thank you so much.
Look at what I've done. No, but that is, for an agent to increase their average sales price 15 to 20% is, that's amazing, year over year. To double it is wow. That's awesome. To double the double, to quadruple in less than 24 months, you're going to need to unpack that, because I know you've got some stuff in there that some people are going to be pretty excited about. So that's 100% something that we got to talk about. No Secondly, and probably equally as impressive, I want to hear what it is that you're doing to take care of your clients so well that you have just this huge referral base coming in from your database. That's impressive also. And then last but not least, and this may actually tie in with one or both of these, I want you to explain your lunch, not leads strategy and what that means. Because I love that phrase. And then honestly, that might be the most impactful advice we hear today with what you're doing there.
Together. So this will be an easy, cohesive thing for people to follow. So the moment that they get off of this, they will be able to take action and make it happen.
Love it. Love it. All right. Are you ready to collaborate?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's jump in. All right. So number 1, you quadrupled. It's so hard for me to say that because it just doesn't happen very often. You've quadrupled your average sales price in less than 24 months. So I've heard the story of how you did it. Well, I heard that you did it. I don't know if I have all the details, but so if my data is correct, you went from around 250-ish to over 1 million in a 2-year period. So
998, but who's counting?
998. We'll round up to 1 million.
He always rounds up to 1 million. Yeah,
I'll give you a couple of grand in there. What did that look like? Just walk, if you can, kind of nutshell, what did you do? How'd you do it? Go.
Okay. So I got into the industry. I didn't know a whole lot of people. So really the people I was working with, because of my age group, was first-time home buyers. So of course they're starting out, entry-level homes, right? Yeah. So that's where the average of 250,000 was the entry level in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm based out of. That was the standard entry-level home. And then my husband came home one day. Now, my husband is an avid golfer. He loves it. And I think it's fine.
Does he get paid to do that?
He thinks he does. No, he's
Right.
So he comes home and he's like, hey, there's this country club in town. It's called Northridge. I have known about it. I knew that he used to work there as a bag boy long time ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And he was like, I think we should join it. And I was like, why? I do not want to be around snooty people. Those are not my people. Materialistic people. That's not my thing at all. I don't want to spend money to go then be around people that I don't really care for. If you want to.
So that's the image that you had.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I was totally against this. Okay.
Yep.
So I was like, if that's what you want, we'll go for a tour, but that can be your thing. It's not gonna be my thing. We went for a tour. Some of my friends that were members would talk to me about the things that they do there. And I was like none of this sounded none of it did. Wine tastings. I know, Cole, I know that you love wine. I don't drink wine. So I'm just
that's fair.
Great. It's just not my thing. So we ended up joining, and I called my good friend, Andy Blake, who's based out of Kansas City. And I said, hey, we're joining this really hoity-toity country club. What do I do? And he was like, show up. And I was like, what? He said, you are who you surround yourself with. Go to the pool with the kids, do the activities with the ladies, like whatever they're doing, things are happening and you will create a network there. And what I didn't know that now I'm kind of mad at myself for not thinking about before is the way that a country club works is those people, they want to support the club. It is their family away from family. So when it comes to a CPA or insurance or real estate, they're not looking outside of that club. They're keeping it inside of that club.
Like a fraternity, right?
Bingo. That's the perfect way to say it. Because family, it's like, well, sometimes you don't want to work with family. But
Right.
a fraternity, yes, it's like blind loyalty, yes. So I just showed up. And over that 2-year period of playing tennis terribly, like I have no right? But I had fun and I showed up, and then I got invited to birthday parties and like gender reveals and then like, kids' birthday parties or whatever. And by doing things that were, I hate to say it now, they were actually fun.
Right.
Don't tell him, because I do not know that he was right. Okay. But by showing up and being around people that made more money, it quadrupled the amount of average closing that I had, which completely blew me away. Meanwhile, those first time homeowners were then, getting married, having kids, whatever. And then naturally they're doubling or tripling their price for their next home. So as a normal real estate, what's the right word, Cole?
Trajectory or their
Trajectory. Let's use big words. Yes. Yeah. So as a normal trajectory.
I only have 4, so now I only have 3 big words left.
Right. We're going to use those by the end of this.
All right.
Okay. So if I in this I say, okay, Cole, then we're going to just throw one in and we'll make it work. Okay.
Let's go.
So as the normal trajectory happens, then also I kind of cheated.
Yeah, you kind of compounded that.
And being in a high-end business by joining the Bougie Country Club. Because who you are around reflects your average closing amount. So if you have this in your town, join it. If you are like me and you're like, I don't know, do it. So show up and do pickleball, because it's not my thing. But like do what you want, but by being around people, you're going to bring top of mind awareness.
So you probably walked into that with that. I'm talking about the club for the first 1 or 2 times reluctantly. You kind of had that mindset like, this is just, I'm not fake. I don't want to be around these bougie people that, whatever, just want to show their money, or they want everybody to see them or whatever. So what were one of the first or second things that you attended that started to change your mindset? Like, wow, these people are actually just like me. They're pretty cool.
Well, I did tennis lessons and I'd never tried tennis a day in my whole life. And the thing that I noticed was it was like Wednesday at 10 a.m. So normal people are working, right? But these are the stay-at-home moms.
Yeah.
Now, what do I have in common with stay-at-home moms? Not a whole lot, but I am a mother. And so,
and
I have a home. True. But by treating them with like friendship, because it's an authentic friendship anyway.
Yeah.
And giving them like something to laugh at, which is my tennis skills, and just like being there for them. It's been incredible. And let's not fake it, guys. Like male, female, whoever's watching this, typically it is the female in the household that makes the decision of which real estate agent they hire. So little did I know, showing up and being a friend,
being around the decision makers,
was a big deal.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense. So
but I showed up to everything. I did the LGA, which is the Ladies Golf Association. You should see me golf. But I just showed up, like what Andy said, like just show up. And I just showed up and I was my authentic self. And just like anything, when you show up and you're authentic, it allows other people to be authentic, which makes them to feel
That's a good
more
point.
warm. And it just kind of fast tracks friendship.
And I would venture to guess what you found is that the other ladies there, or even some of the dudes, were not ace tennis players or ace golfers or ace whatever. Like they're all just, because they all work, right? And they don't have time to perfect their hobby or their craft. So
yeah. Now there are going to be some people that are the materialistic, right? But that's not naturally attractive.
That's anywhere though.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
So for me, I just went and I found my tribe and I love on them and I love on them hard. And we're going to get into that with the things that I do to love on them a little bit later in this. But my goal is that when they think real estate, they think Heidi.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that you mentioned that I want to come back to was authenticity. So you were Heidi, you're Heidi at home, you're Heidi with your clients, and you're Heidi at the club. There's not like a different Heidi for different settings or, anything. Would you agree?
Sometimes I wish that there was different. No, like, I am just like authentically myself. Now, when I'm around my children, my language is a little bit better.
Well, sure.
But I am very committed to being my authentic self. It drains me when I'm not. And it also, in return, allows other people to feel more comfortable being with me. So
there was something that you mentioned. I don't know if this was an interview that I listened to that you were in. It might have been your interview with Jimmy Burgess. I'm not sure. But you asked yourself the question when you joined this country club, or maybe when you started actually, going after you joined, is, am I doing it for business or am I doing it for me? And I remember you saying that there's a distinction there, and that is, do it because you want to do it. If you go into it doing it if you go join that club, wine club, country club, whatever, if you're joining it just for business, that's where you start to lose the authenticity, right?
Yes.
And
And
genuineness.
okay. We don't like that, right? But I wanted to show up. So what I did is I had to find things that I could go and show up as my authentic version, instead of showing up and being like, I'm in real estate. What do you do? Right?
Now, when you say you had to find things, what do you mean? Different events they were doing, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like there's like an 80s workout margarita night that I was like, that's me. Okay, that's fun. Okay. I might not drink wine, but do I drink margaritas? Absolutely, right?
Yep.
Like, it's just things like that I would look at, and I didn't make it like every week I need to be there one time. But as I started getting more involved, then my new friends there were like, hey, Heidi, we're doing this. Do you want to go? Right? So it just kind of snowballs. But it's all about putting yourself out there, being authentic, and doing things that you naturally care about.
Yeah.
Again, I will go play golf. I'm terrible at it, but I let people know that before we go out, so that I'm not there like, so you looking to buy a house? Like, that's not me.
Very cool. Very cool. So what, as it relates to joining the club, what is, looking back, it's been 2 years, maybe a little over 2 years now, what is something that you might have done differently?
Joined earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe not have been so apprehensive or hesitant, or I'm not going to mix well with those people, I'm different than they are. So something like that.
I think that's just naturally who I am. I don't like to be pushed into something or like sold into something. And because this was my husband's thing, I was like, I don't know, right? So I think that's just part of my process and how my brain works. But truly, I have totally enjoyed being there. I went there last night with my daughter. We went to go play there's a play set there, and we went, and I met 2 new people, which then I put into my SOI, which I send postcards to once a month. So like I've got 2 new people in that. And then I saw 2 of the other people that are already in my SOI, so I got to catch up with them. So it's just being top of mind with them. Okay.
And are these, and I'm sure we'll probably come back to this, are these postcards, are they real estate specific?
They should.
No. I agree with you on that.
Well, like when interest rates were low, it was like, let's talk about what a low interest rate is versus a high interest rate, like to show numbers. But most of them, like this month, so it's February right now, it's about the Cherry Bounce, which is a drink. Have you ever heard of it?
No. What's it called?
The Cherry Bounce.
Cherry Bounce. I'm writing it down.
And I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. And the state capital of North Carolina was changed because of a cocktail called the Cherry Bounce.
What?
Which is like a little known fact.
That's kind of cool.
So the postcard is like, hey, did you know this about this, how Raleigh became the state capital? And it talks about the story about the Cherry Bounce, and then on the other side is the recipe. So rarely is it about real estate.
Okay.
It's often about the city that I live in and love. Sometimes it's about, like last month, it was like things to do when it's cold outside in Raleigh. Sometimes it's a recipe. Okay. Sometimes it's like fun facts about whatever. So it's just something to be top of mind.
But it's something interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
we have fun with it. We plan it out each year. in November. Our designer comes up with it. So then we just send it out and do it each month.
So at the end of November of each year, you map out the next year's mailings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and the team. Yep, we sit down together, we come up with it. We also make sure that there's not like 2 recipe cards next to each other. Like we make sure that there is some change. But again, it's rarely about real estate. It's truly, I want when somebody is on their phone, on social media, I want them to see me. When they're in their mailbox, I want them to see me. When they are in their emails, I want them to be getting my home bot. Like I want to be everywhere so that me, like I'm a working mom, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I don't have time to be face to face with everybody, but this it makes them feel like I'm face to face.
Yeah. And I want to make sure our friends listening caught what you said a while ago, because I'm a big systems guy. I'm a big planner. And if things don't get planned, they don't get done. But what you said blew me away. And that is by November, you've already mapped out next year's mailers for like every month or every other month, however often you're doing it. It's already done. So that's already taken out of your mind. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have that stress building up or that, that overwhelming feeling like, oh my gosh, what am I going to send out next month? You sit down, you carve out a day and you plan this out and then you're done.
Yeah, but Cole, we probably carve out like 35 minutes. And then to our designer, like, let's make this really easy. Okay, we send it to our designer. Our designer will batch do all of this. Instead of doing a fresh one each month, she goes ahead and does all of them. She then sends them to our printer, who we have a deal with because we're going to be printing 12 of these a year.
Okay.
And they know that it goes out on the 15th of each month. All
That's
I need
great.
to worry about is when the $665 a month hits my credit card bill.
Yeah.
Because all of it's done.
Yeah, that's amazing. There's something liberating about that, right? Because that is already something you don't have to worry about the entire next year. It's already done. Love it.
And
yeah. So, and that might be a good segue into the second thing that I wanted to make sure that we cover. So you've grown your business exponentially by intentionally driving your price point up. But I also know a lot of your business comes from repeat clients and referrals, like from your database or your sphere of influence. And it seems like you've intentionally shifted away from what a lot of agents have been doing or are doing, which is buying leads, buying zip codes, paying for clicks, and so on and so forth. And I want to come back to that phrase that I've heard and that you've also shared with me, and that is you stopped buying leads and you started buying lunch.
Yes.
And I'm going to be honest, when I first heard you say that, or when I first heard someone say, yeah, Heidi is the lunch, not leads gal, my thought is, okay, I can imagine what that means. I can nod my head, okay, and think to myself, yeah, I get it. I need to call someone and take them to lunch. But that's not, you're much more intentional with it. So what does that look like? Unpack that for our friends listening.
Well, let's take a step back. I tried buying leads. I've done that. So it's not like I'm this person that doesn't understand how the systems work and the follow-up and stuff like that. But I'm also the same person that would go to a house and wait and wait and wait for the buyer that I paid for to show up. And finally they show up. They barely make eye contact with me. They don't care about what I'm saying. They don't trust me because they don't know me. And then they leave and then they go under contract with that house with a different agent. Okay? Like I've been there. And that's not the road I want to do. Okay?
We know how that story ends, right?
Yeah. Exhausted. Yeah. So for me, I was like, okay, so I have a pretty great network. Every time I talk to people, they're like, we should get together sometime. And just like everybody, oh yeah, let's do that. Well, with me, I'm actually doing that.
You're like, okay, let's get your calendar out.
No, and I'm glad you said that, Cole. I don't say, well, let's figure it out right now, right? Because to me, that appears salesy.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
It is a flag in my mind that I'm like, okay, I need to follow up with this person. So I am forever 2 weeks out on booking lunches. I have a lunch booked Monday through Friday, every day with somebody different. The reason
Monday through Friday? Mm-hmm. Wow. That's okay. Yeah, that's wow. You're in high demand, Heidi.
Well, no, I'm not in high demand. This is
You're
a part
intentional.
of my system. This is a part of my system.
You're intentional.
I'm intentional. And the thing is, when I sit down and I talk to somebody, they open up about their family. They open up about the struggles that are going on. They open up about work. They open up about aging parents,
Yeah.
we weren't planning on this pregnancy, but here we are, like stuff like that comes up. Things that don't come up in a text message or a, email that you send out to everybody. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to go deeper with my people because, again, my goal is that when they think real estate, they think about me. So not only am I finding out, is this somebody I really need to keep on my radar? Like, could they be thinking about moving? But also when they leave that lunch, they go out and they start talking to people and inevitably my name comes up, right? Because they're like, oh, I had lunch with so-and-so yesterday and I asked her about the real estate market. This is what she says. Can you believe that? Isn't that wild? Like it grows. It's like
you're secretly creating ambassadors for Heidi Harris, honestly. So let me ask you this. So when you first started thinking about, I just need to get belly to belly with people because that's where I shine. I'm tired of buying leads. You're now scheduling lunches 4 to 5 every week. Somebody who's listening right now that has never been intentional with that might be thinking, gosh, how do I line up even 3 lunches this next week? So how did those first conversations go when you were like, hey, can we do lunch next week? Call the next person. Hey, how does that go?
Okay, so beautiful question because that's not how it goes at all. So
Okay.
it is much more natural than that. So
Okay.
for example, remember how I said yesterday I went to the club and I saw 2 ladies that I didn't know and then 2 ladies that I did know? Mm-hmm. Well, when I was catching up with the 2 ladies that I did know, one of them was like, hey, let's grab lunch. So I'm not going to be like, well, let's do it right now, right?
Yeah.
But do I know on Monday? Like it's on my follow-up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to her and be like, hey, let's get together. Let's have lunch. Like, I'd love to know what's going on with you. It is a lot easier than people think. If you run into somebody at Target, it's like, hey, I want to catch up with you. I've got to run and get Band-Aids real quick, but like, let's get together and do lunch sometime. Okay, yeah, text me, right?
Yeah.
We do this all the time. Oh, text me. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, yeah. And then
we never follow through.
but we're doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and also there was not an aha moment of like, I'm buying lunch, not leads. Like this was not something that I woke up one morning and like elevated out of my bed and decided I was going to do. That did not happen. It was something that I was like, oh, that lunch went well. Maybe I should reach out to this person. And then it naturally happened. And let me be very clear about this. If somebody's like, oh my gosh, I cannot buy 5 lunches a week, that is a burden.
Yeah, I could think.
I've been doing this for 2 years, 1.5 years, 2 years. I've probably bought 3 lunches ever. Normally we end up just splitting it down the middle. So I don't want that to be, if you go out and you say,
and
hey,
that's a great distinction because if it was more of I'm Heidi the realtor, I would like to take you to lunch, then you're on the hook for buying both lunches. But if it's gosh, I haven't seen you in forever, or I'd love to catch up or whatever, if you're going to lunch with a friend, you're each going to pay for your own, right?
bingo.
I mean,
bingo.
oh, that's
So
great.
that's something to also know through the experience is it sounds more expensive than it is, but the impact is so much greater because you're earning that trust. You're like literally being invited into these people's lives.
Yeah.
And it takes you to a whole different level. The amount of conversations that I've had with people, they're like, hey, remember we had that lunch? One of my dear friends, she's going through I met with her for lunch like probably 2 years ago. We had lunch recently. I didn't know her marriage was in trouble. Now they're separating. And she's like, I know that I mentioned this at lunch 2 years ago, but this is where we are now. And like, we're at lunch and she's in tears, I'm in tears. And like, yes, I care about this woman, but also like when it comes to buy or sell or whatever happens with this, I'm going to be her top of mind.
Yeah.
And
because you've shown that you care.
Because I care.
Yeah.
But also, Cole, I do care.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You've shown that you care over the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is all about going deeper with a bunch of people rather than just like peppering and hoping for trust, which is what buying leads, in my opinion, is.
So is 5 lunches a week, is that your goal, or does it just kind of happen?
No, it's my goal.
Okay.
I'm booked out for 2 weeks right now. I have I booked one for March 12th, which is like next month, because, not everybody is like, yes, let's go tomorrow, right?
Sure.
So like, I'm always constantly filling it in. but somebody's kids are going to be sick or something comes up. So I schedule 5 a week, probably 4 happen, but then that one I can just reschedule, no big deal.
So are you ever running light enough on number of lunches you have scheduled to where you pick up the phone and just reach out to people that you haven't talked to in a while and just see if that organically happens to scheduling a lunch?
We should, but no.
No? Okay.
Yeah, no, this is very natural. It is, I'm not cold calling. I am not trying to set appointments for myself. It is, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, let's catch up. Okay, cool. Like, that's all it is. And the cues for catching up with people is if they're posting something on Facebook, somebody's graduating or whatever, be like, hey, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that Becca is graduating. I remember when she was born. Yeah. We have so much to catch up on. You want to go to Poppy Seed Market at noon on Thursday? Love to catch up with you. Like that. This is not rocket science.
Yeah.
This is easy.
It's just you're intentional with it, with not only maybe just staying up to date using Facebook or Instagram or whatever with your clients and your friends, but then you're also intentional about being out in your community where I guess even if you weren't intentional, like, oh my gosh, I haven't been out today where I could maybe run into somebody. It's not even like that because we're just normally going to run to the store. We're normally going to go to a restaurant with our significant other and we're going to run into people. It's just that you are taking it one step further than the, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. We got to catch up sometime. And then we're like, yeah, we'll do that. See ya. And I'm so guilty. Like I'll never probably make that phone call. You're intentional with it. That's part of your plan.
Can I say one more thing that I do?
Absolutely.
So another thing is if I see somebody going through a hard time, I make them food. And some people are very overwhelmed by this.
By hard time, what do you mean? And where would you see this? Online or?
So one of my dear friends, her mom is dying. And she's not posted this online. I just know this because she's my dear friend. Okay. So I made her a chicken pot pie and I made her a lasagna. But while I made her a chicken pot pie, I made 3 chicken pot pies. While I made her a lasagna, I actually made 6 lasagnas. So
Whoa.
I'm batch doing this, putting it in my freezer, because when SHIT hits the fan, there is nothing like something that I have homemade to bring to them, to show them this love and care.
I love that.
And I know this is not for everybody. This is not for everybody. But if you look in my freezer right now, you will see 2 chicken pot pies and 3 lasagnas ready to go. I recently lost my father, and like I would have loved for somebody to come through and be like, oh my gosh, I made you all this food, right? And because that's my love language, like I guess I kind of people would do it. Yeah. But it happened a little bit, but like for me, what it taught me was like, wait, that means a lot to people.
Yeah, no doubt.
And my best friends in my sphere, when it was the first day of school, I made them all, it's called $1 Million Spaghetti. I made them all $1 Million Spaghetti. I froze it all first day of school. I dropped it off on their front porch so that they didn't have to worry about what to serve the kids the first day of school. So it's just something to love on my kids.
Yeah. But again, what I'm picking up on is that you're a planner and you're very intentional. I mean, with scheduling out your mailers the previous year, with you've got one person that you notice is going through SHIT. So you're thinking, what better way to show someone that you love them than like actually baking them something or preparing something. So while you're doing it, you're like, you know what? Somebody else is going to be going through SHIT. So why don't I make multiples and keep them? So you're intentional. These are all things we can do. We just don't think about doing them. I love that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That really is awesome.
And it's not expensive. I mean, to make the 6 lasagnas, it was like $45 to make 6.
Okay. Yeah, that works. I mean, we've all got that. And going back to your lunch thing, if you think about it, I'm pretty confident that all of us eat lunch every day anyway, right? So we're going to be eating lunch. And if we're not a disciplined meal prep person, then we're probably going to be buying ourselves lunch, right? Mm-hmm. So why not do that with a friend or with somebody? That makes all the sense in the world.
Bingo.
Awesome. Okay, number 3, or this might be part 2 of number 2. I love this. You and I chatted a couple of weeks ago, and I was laughing on the inside. I think I probably laughed out loud a little bit too. But you shared the story with me the first time you were invited to this wine party and you showed up with like 2 bottles of like $2 Chuck or something, just you're like, because you're not a wine drinker. So you were like, that's eye level at the grocery store. I'll grab that one and I'll grab this one.
Yep, it looks pretty.
And little did you know it was actually a little bit of a competition, right?
Yeah.
And then it seemed like the light bulb started going off for you. And this is what I want our friends to catch. This is the genius strategy, not just these client events or sphere of influence events that you're doing, but the way that you do them to create like a bit of a competition. So what does that look like? To unpack that one for us.
Sure. So what Cole was saying, I went to a party. I don't drink wine, but they were like, hey, bring 2 of your favorite kinds of rosé or sparkling or whatever. It's a different genre. What is wine called? Type?
Different types. Yeah.
Use one of your good words.
Your different varieties. You've got
Right.
Cabernets, you got rosé, you got champagne, all that.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't remember what this one was, but I showed up. I probably brought $2 Chuck because I don't know what I'm doing. And I just showed up and it was a competition. And by the end of the night, like all the women were having fun and like somebody won and it was exciting and
But
whatever.
what was the competition?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go through
Okay.
that because I think the easiest way to understand this is if I say, I went to this party, I saw this happening, and then I thought, I have some really cool women that I know. What if I hosted this at my house and I open it up to my sphere of influence?
Yeah.
So I invited about 100 women.
That's a lot of women.
75 showed up.
Wow.
Yeah. And my house isn't huge, but boy, were we loud. Like my ears were hurting because we were all so loud. We had to open the windows. Anyway.
So wait, pause right there, because someone listening right now might be thinking, okay, you went to this party thing, you got this great idea, you invited 100 people and 75 showed up. What was on the invite that these people were like, I got to go to that. That looks fun.
Yep. Perfect question. So we called it the ultimate girls' night out.
Okay.
Because I'm a mom of young kids. If I can have a night out with my girlfriends, that is gold to me, right? So we called it that. And then we had very specific directions. This invitation is not like who, what, where, when, why. It's not that. It is directions. It's like arrive at 7:00 on the dot. Bring 2 of the same bottles of wine. If you're bringing a guest, we want everybody to bring a guest, okay? If you're bringing a guest who's not a real estate agent, we have that, have that on the invitation, okay?
Asterisk, 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 right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would not believe how many real estate agents accidentally showed up to this until we ended up putting it on the invitation.
Oh, so you literally put that on the invitation.
Oh, I literally put it on the invitation.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah. But what I say is bring 2 of the same bottles of, let's just say rosé for fun. So I say bring in 2 of the same bottles of your favorite rosé. When you show up, we're going to wrap 1 in aluminum foil. There's going to be a wine tasting. We're then going to vote and see which wine the table likes the best. We will assign you a table. Once you vote, you can go onto the other table or you can go have dinner. Like this is all worded, however you want. But okay, so pretend like I'm a guest at the party. Okay. I show up, I bring 2 of my favorite bottles of rosé. I also bring my best friend who brings 2 of her bottles of rosé. I check in. I give the person at the front desk my name, my phone number, my email, and which rosés I brought. They give me a table number. What we have figured out is 8 women at a table is the perfect number. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. Okay. Then my friend comes and does the same thing. By me bringing a friend, I am now doubling my sphere of influence because now this person is now on my postcard list. Okay. Immediately they start going on everything that we do. So remember, women are typically the decision makers of who you're hiring with real estate.
Very true.
So then they sit down at they stand at the table. There's no chairs. 1 bottle goes in those big not coolers. It's like a tin thing full of, what is it called?
Like a chiller, like a huge chiller, if you will.
Chiller. Yes, perfect.
That wasn't even one of my big words. I just threw that in there.
I'm really impressed with you. Can you tell I don't drink wine? I'm like, what are the wine types called? What's this thing?
You got varieties, different varieties. And
So, okay. So then they put the bottle in there to chill it. And then the other bottle goes underneath the table in a box. Now,
Okay.
once the table fills with the 8 people, their tasting begins. So everybody, we have the little like tasting cups. We have like the rinse things where they can like rinse it out, whatever. Okay, so everybody's tasting it, and then everybody has my team name is Home Sweet Heidi Realty. Everybody has a Home Sweet Heidi Realty notepad. On it, they're taking notes.
Lots of branding going on here too. I love it.
Oh,
yeah.
honey, yes. So on it, it's like bottle number 1, because on the aluminum foil, we've written it with Sharpie.
Okay.
So bottle number 1, too fruity. Bottle number 2, too dry. Bottle number 3, so good, would buy this again. Bottle number 4, right? They're just like writing down. And then once they get through all 8 samples, they have a little piece of paper that they write which one they like the best, and they put it in like a fish bowl in the middle, right? They drop that. They can then go to the next table. Now, in this game, if you do all the tables, we call it around the world.
Okay.
Not every woman will do around the world, okay? But the women that do, they end up having a really good time. Okay?
I bet. Yeah.
But what happens is it's a competition, it's fun, but it breaks the ice really fast. Because women are like, oh my gosh, did you try number 3? That's so good. Number 7 is so bad, right? And so it's just like easy icebreakers. And then you start seeing women, strangers, selfies, like taking pictures with the person next to them. It's creating community.
They're having fun.
They're having fun. They're letting loose. Everything is easier, right? And it becomes such a community builder. It's absolutely incredible. And really, at the end of the night, we go get the fishbowl off the table. We go figure out who the winners are. Typically, we have anywhere between, like, the smallest one was 75 people. The biggest one that we had was 350 people.
Oh my gosh.
I know. We count them all up, give out whoever wins. Okay, so remember, if I'm at table number 1 and I'm the winner, I get the box of wine that's underneath the table.
Oh, with
So
all the
I go
extra
home-
bottles that were brought.
Yes. I go home with 8 bottles of wine. Now, the cool thing about this, guys, if you're taking notes, is the most expensive thing about this party is the alcohol. Do you notice what I'm not supplying?
You're not supplying the alcohol.
I'm not supplying the alcohol.
That's huge.
And they get to go home with it, and it's like a bragging point. And then additionally, on my social media, I get to say, hey, in case you didn't make it, these are the bottles that are the winners. And I always like to do this in the spring because, 1, spring real estate, but also that's normally the beginning of like white wine or rosé season. So it's like, okay, well, this is what's cool this year, right? And then people that couldn't attend, I can text them and be like, hey, we missed you so much.
Yeah.
In case you want to know who the winners are, these are the winning bottles of wine.
So
and it just makes people feel so included.
Yeah,
And
something that's huge that I want to make sure we caught, because I remember asking you about this when you were telling me this wine event and it's this girls' night out and you had like 75. And I'm thinking, in my mind, when I throw like a client event or something, I'm footing the bill. And I'm thinking, okay, that's going to be a couple of grand in alcohol or something like that. And you're like, no, Cole, they bring the alcohol. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait, hold on, back up. So, I mean, even on the invite, the way that the invitation is, the whole theme is people are bringing their own wine. So that is genius. That is absolutely genius.
We do have food. We do have a photo booth. We have a DJ. Because what I do is after we say who the winner is I'm like, if y'all want to go home, feel free. If you want to stay and party, I'll be here. Right.
Yeah.
And so people are picking up bottles of wine, just like, we have a good time. Okay.
I bet.
So, but at the end of the day, depending on how many people show up, it's going to be a couple $1,000s to me. But my mortgage lender, my home inspector, we have closing attorneys in North Carolina. We have all kinds of sponsors that help us with this. And so I have maybe come out of pocket like $1,000, maybe. But
I mean, that's
typically
worth it.
all of this.
Yeah.
It's so worth it. And this is a great way to double your network because all these women are bringing a friend.
Yeah.
The first year we did not have anybody bring a friend. What a mistake that was. I just didn't think about it. And then I had actually one person said, hey, can I bring a friend? Because I don't know anybody. And I was like, sure. Well, guess what? That person ended up buying and selling a house within 3 months.
The
And I was
friend?
there. Her friend that she brought.
Oh, wow.
I was pregnant. So it's like,
You're like,
yeah,
hey,
great
what am I missing here?
Yeah.
So the invitation, and I think that's huge. Would you be willing to share a example of an invitation?
Yeah, I'll send it to you, and then you can send it to whoever
Yeah,
would like this.
or I'll have a link in the description of this interview down below, where people can click on that.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because I think that's one of the things for me, and then probably our friends listening right now, is that like writer's block and like I don't even know, like, what should I do on the invitation? And there's so many things that could we would prevent ourselves from taking that next step. And I think that would be one of them.
Well, and each year we've had to get more savvy with how we word it. Because of course, the first year I didn't say, don't bring a real estate agent.
Right.
Well, first year I didn't even think to bring a friend, right? So like we've developed this and worked out the kinks. So I'm happy to share that with you. No problem.
That's awesome. So we could just skip all of those little uh-ohs and just go right to the perfection.
Don't skim your knees. Just learn off of me. I did it for you.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so you've talked about your follow-up, like with the ones that don't come. So you're just reaching out to them, missed you, so on and so forth. What are you using to send the invites and track the invites and things like that?
So we use, I think it's called Blackbird RSVP. Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Have you ever heard of it?
No, but now that you say that, you mentioned that the last time we chatted, and there was a specific reason that you started using it.
It's called Blackbird RSVP.
Okay.
We do the free version. And the reason I do that is because we did Evite for a while. I can't remember what the other ones are. But then what would happen is people would be like, wait, you had that party? I didn't get invited. And it's because they'd unsubscribed. In
a previous invitation a year ago or whenever it was, they unsubscribed because they were just getting bombarded
all of Evite.
with. Oh, okay. So
it's not a Heidi Harris thing. They just unsubscribe from Evite. So then they're just not getting invited. So with Blackbird, that's not happening. Additionally, it is so much easier to set up. And whenever we do events, this is a free event for people to attend, but whenever we do events, like we'll do conferences for real estate agents, it's super easy for people to pay on those.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So I love Blackbird RSVP.
So are you using that? You're using that for the invites. Can you also use that for like the reminders, sending out? And you've got those that have RSVP'd, those who haven't even opened it, and those who have said no. When you're doing the reminders, can you just select like by category or?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And if anybody's listening that is trying to do a bigger event, meaning inviting like a huge list of people, on Blackbird RSVP, you can invite 500 people a day for free.
Wow.
So when we do our real estate conferences, we go through our entire MLS. I think there's like 17,000 people on there, and we break it up into 500 a day where we can just send it out to people in our MLS.
Okay.
So
that's a good tip. Pro tip from Heidi.
Pro tip.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, Heidi, these three things that I wanted to make sure we covered, we even covered, and then some, have just been absolutely amazing. I mean, I think these are one or two of these for sure can be a game changer for our friends listening right now. And I'm taking my own notes because there's things I know that I can implement right away. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate you carving some time out to share some of your secret sauce with us. It's just I love this.
I don't like let's all be better together.
Yeah, I love it. Collaboration trumps competition all day long. All right, so I've got a 3-question lightning round that I do with all of my guests, and just 3 quick questions. First one is, what's your favorite tech tool that you're using that you think others need to know about?
Okay, so I know I just talked about Blackbird RSVP.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome.
That's a great one.
I also do HomeBot. I don't know. I know some lenders don't love HomeBot, but
I love it. I use it.
Okay, great. I love it. It's cheap. It makes a big impact. The other thing that I want to talk about, and we do a pie giveaway, meaning before Thanksgiving every year, we say, hey, come by my house, grab a pie.
Yeah.
I use Sign Up Genius for that. And Cole, it's so easy. It keeps people staggered. It's free. It is an amazing, underrated tool. So I would say if you are doing anything like that where you need to stagger things, Sign Up Genius is incredible.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I remember you telling me about that the last time we talked. And friends, just listen to this. If you do any kind of client events where you're having multiple people show up, when Heidi shared this with me, no pun intended, it's genius. It's sign up genius. But the reason that I say that is because so Heidi and I connected, and it was about a week after I helped sponsor a huge real estate team's pie giveaway, funny enough, right here in the Southlake, Texas area. And I hosted it at our wine club. And what I remember is that there was a surge of like 20 to 30, 40, 50 people would show up at the same time. And I just remember watching this real estate agent and his team try to like carve out time to make sure they talk to this couple and these clients. And it was just mass chaos. It was a great event, good turnout, but it was chaos. And then Heidi, you mentioned this sign up genius where people can sign up for like time slots. So you can stagger them. And I was like, that is remarkable.
And on March 14th, which is Pie Day, we're doing a Pie Day giveaway, which is pizza pies. So we're having people show up with their families to a local pizza spot. And we're using Sign Up Genius so that once again, we don't have long wait times with the pies. Yeah. We can have people staggered in and out. And what we do is we fill it. So we'll say like, we can't have more than 50 people within this half an hour or whatever. Now they don't need to kick rocks at a half an hour, but it keeps the kitchen lined up with what we're doing.
Yeah, that's such a great idea though. I just can't tell you how, well, you've probably been there before. It was just so chaotic at that pie giveaway. I just remember there would be like waves and then it would be dead for like 10 minutes and then a huge wave. And I just, some of their clients didn't really get any FaceTime at all because there was just so many people that showed up all at once. So that is.
It lessens the impact of the event.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, last question. We'll just do a lightning round of two. Who is a must follow agent right now that you think others would benefit from by following them on all the socials?
Absolutely. So if you guys have been listening to us, which if you've made it this long, thank you. But you've heard us mention our good friend, Jimmy Burgess.
Yeah.
He is, well, this is going to be backwards, isn't it? Jimmy Burgess _ at the end. He is a must follow if you are in real estate, if you are a mortgage lender, whatever it is. The amount of impact and wisdom and no gatekeeping that this guy has is absolutely incredible. He's one of the top minds in real estate right now. He's a wonderful person and a dear friend. And I think he's absolutely worthy of a follow.
I would agree. And I didn't even know this because he's a pretty humble dude as well. But he is the most read contributor with Inman for like 3 years running. Yeah. The most read. So, I mean, the dude knows what he's doing, but he's humble. He's a giver. He's genuine. He's authentic. He's amazing. I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Absolutely.
There should be more people out there like Jimmy Burgess.
Absolutely. And I'll include his social links in the description as well. So our friends listening can just jump on there. Well, Heidi, thank you again so much for carving out some time to collaborate with Cole. And again, for opening up the Home Sweet Heidi. Is that right?
That's right.
The Home Sweet Heidi playbook. You know, sharing your secret sauce with some fellow agents. I guarantee you've made an intentional impact because you are very intentional on your community to help educate, equip, and empower someone listening right now. So Heidi, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Awesome. Cole, thank you so much. I've had so much fun.